And I'm going to fire up the old tube tester here, give these tubes a check, and we'll get them back installed assuming they're good, and we'll give the old radio a fire up on the Variac and see what happens. Okay, I've got the tube tester out, and I've got the 35 Z5 rectifier tube in, and the first setting for this particular tube again is really just looking for a short on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there's a short on 5, short on 4, short on 3, short on 2, and short on 1. So that's a great sign. We flip this back off, change the settings here for the other section of the tube. Okay, again we're testing the 35Z5 rectifier tube. Just let it warm up just for a moment. And the second part of the test will be just using the rectifier standard. And it checks good. So, just based on what I see, this rectifier tube, it should be good. Make sure we don't have any shorts. Flip this off and let's move on to the next tube. Okay, I'm testing a 50L6, which is the powered output tube, and my mutual conductance tester shows I should be reading somewhere around 7500. So I think this is a good tube, and this is one of my substitutes, and I'm reading just under 2500. So I think maybe my documentation for the 50L6 GT is actually inaccurate, but I'll go ahead and test here for shorts on this tube, and then I'm going to put the original tube back in. And it's still warm. Take just a minute for it to warm back up, and let's just see what we get on it. I think I'll just go ahead and put it back in the radio, and I'm pretty certain it's going to be good. Again, I haven't checked this particular tube for shorts, but I'll do that. Okay, I'm going to go with that. I think this 50L6 is good. If not, we'll come back to it and I'll dig another one out of the spare box. Okay, up next is the 12SQ7, and I've got it in the tester. It's been warming up just for a minute. The detector AVC AF tube. And this is just one of the first settings. Should read a little over 1100, and I'm at 1500 and some change, so that's good. Let's check and see if we've got any shorts. And we do not. So it appears that the 12SQ7 is in good working order. Let's move on to the next. I about goofed up and didn't check the diode section of the 12SQ7, and I've had this problem before when I test diodes on it. Again, this tester hasn't been restored, or if it was a good while back. So my diodes have always seemed to read just a hair low, and this is right there on the borderline. So I think it's okay. I'm going to take a chance with it, and if not, we'll substitute another tube. But when I've checked some known good 12SQ7s on the diode, I'm able to replicate that same reading, which is just right there on the very low side, or just underneath the diode's OK check mark on the tester. The next tube is the 12SK7, It's the IF tube, and I've been letting it warm up. I think this tube's maybe just a touch weak. Looks like I'm reading just a little under what I should be. And when I drop the filament voltage back, it drops off pretty quick. So I want to see if I got another 12SK7 handy here, and I'm going to throw it in the tester just to see what kind of reading I get. Go ahead again, check for shorts. Looks good. So let me dig through my box here, grab another 12SK7, put that in, and let's see what we get. Okay, I've got the 12SA7 in the tester. That's the converter tube. Letting it warm up for a minute. Let's do a line test, amplifier test, and it reads well above where it should be. Let me just check this for shorts. Again, there's 2 tests I need to run on this tube, so let me just glance at the manual, and we'll look at the second test here on the 12SA7 tube. Okay, we're looking again at the 12SA7, and this is the second part of the test, and again it looks good on the tester. Let's just make sure we don't have any shorts. Okay, best I can tell based on the tube tester, which is a good indicator. It doesn't mean that you don't have a problem with a tube, but all indications are the tubes are good. So let me put the tube tester away, get this 12SA7 tube back in the Olympic radio, run some jumpers here to the outside aerial loop antenna, and we'll bring this thing up on the Variac and see what happens. Okay, I've got the radio turned on. Volume is wide open. I've got my DC hooked up to the one side of the B+, and I've got the loop antenna reattached on a temporary basis. Again, we're looking at DC voltage, so I'm going to plug this in, bring it up extremely slow, and look at it. Looking at the specs on the radio, this thing should draw about 0.265 amps of current, so about a quarter of an amp of current at 117 volts. So cross your fingers, we're doing this live, folks. See what happens here. And apologize, I don't have the second camera up and operational right now. The battery's down on it, but you can hear me there flipping on the Variac. And I'll be watching. I have a kilowatt meter hooked up to that. I'll be bringing the AC voltage up extremely slow, and again you'll be able to focus on the DC and see if we get any activity there. Again, nothing yet. Let me just check the current flow. I'm about 0.1 amps of current, 0.11. And I'm about 53 volts. So the rectifier tube is not working yet. Go ahead and go up just a hair more. And we'll leave it there just for a minute. I'm about 62 volts. And I'm at 0.11 amps. Okay, it looks like the rectifier tube is starting to work a little. even though my line voltage is extremely low still. I'm sitting at an inline voltage of 62 volts. And you can see I've got around 8 volts DC. Let me check my current one more time. Again, I'm about 0.1 amps of current. And again, my line input voltage, again, I know you can't see it, I'm about 62 volts. So I'm going to go up again just a little more. I'm going to go up to about 70. Okay, I'm at 70 volts line input. And you can see the DC starting to climb. And my current consumption on the radio right now is 0.12 amps. 0.12 amps. It appears to have stabilized here, so I'm going to go ahead and bring the voltage on up a little bit more. Again, I'm at 70 volts. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up another 10 volts to 80 volts. Okay, I'm right at 80 volts AC input, and I'm at 0.16 amps of current. So far, so good. And you can see the DC voltage starting to climb up to about 57 volts. And again, my current continues to stay steady at 0.16. So let's go ahead and continue to bring it on up here. I'm going to come on up to about 90 volts. Okay, I'm at 90 volts and I'm showing around 66 volts DC. And my amp draw or current right now is at 0.18 amps of current, 0.18 in steady. And again, you can see the DC voltage just under 67 volts DC. Okay, again, I have my line voltage at 90 volts. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up to 100 volts. Okay, I'm at 100 volts. And I'm at 0.2 amps of current, so I'm just right underneath. So I'm going to move back over here in front of the radio. I hear a little bit of popping. And the volume's turned wide open. I'm going to try the tuning indicator. I noticed there was a lot of grime on the tuning condenser. just for giggles, I'm going to turn on my signal generator, use myself as an antenna. Okay, so the receiver does appear to be working. Again, there's a lot of grime and crud down inside the tuning condenser, and I have not cleaned it. Let me just glance back at my amp draw. It's sitting at 0.20 amps. And my voltage is right around 100 volts. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up to about 110 volts. Okay, I'm 110 volts and I'm 0.21 amps of current, 0.21 to 0.22 amps of current. Looks like I've got a short in the tuning condenser, and again it is all kind of grimed up, so hey, at least we have something coming out of the speaker, and we have you know, a known. There's a little bit of a signal. Okay, when I get my hand near the loop antenna, which is not uncommon, you know, you can see I'm starting to get some reception. So I'm really more concerned at this point about the voltage and current. I'm going to go ahead and bring this thing on up. To about 115 volts. Just make it 117. So I'm at 117 and I'm drawing 0.235 amps, 0.24 amps. And again, you can see my DC voltage at 86 volts. So it appears the radio is working as it should, other than a few things. Now again, these jumpers going back to the loop antenna is problematic as well. So that would be causing some of my problems for sure with the reception. Okay, I think this video is getting crazy long, so I'm going to end it there. I'll go ahead and do some additional testing offline on the B+ voltage, just to make sure that it's you know, within plus or minus 10%. I'll bring it up to full power, and then I'll look at just cleaning that tuning condenser really well, give it a bath, and then you know, try to shorten those connection points going back to the loop antenna as well, and see what happens. Okay, I've got the tuner, somewhat cleaned. Again, I used forced air, then used some tuning cleaner. Went down through there. Some of that other noise you hear right now is the washing machine in the house just creating a bunch of crap. But looks like I got rid of most of the short. It was in the tuner.
I know I have to admit this one someday, but
Again, I do have a problem here you can see with the volume control, and I'll try the same exercise on it, see if I can access it and clean it up a little bit with some
that you want to do this, but when you first got it, you got to take the time to check this out. And if you're
Again, I just stuck the dial pointer on, so it's not set up correctly. You can see it's just a little bit off.
strategy that the
No RF alignment's been done on the radio at this point in time. Pretty good results, so glad I've got something coming out. So let me go ahead and just work on the volume control and see if I can't clean that up a little bit and smooth it out a little bit, where I'm not getting all that distortion in there. Hopefully I won't have to replace that particular device. I did bring it up to 118 volts again, and I'm just under 1/4 of an amp of current. I've been watching that very, very close. I'll do some additional testing on the DC B+ voltage, probably off camera. Okay, I've got the radio now up to full voltage, around 121, 122 volts. I'm drawing about 0.24 amps of current, so that's spectacular. Again, the dial cord on this radio is broke. It's not even there. So I'll have to wrap that to be able to use it. Right now I'm tuning the radio here from the Bakelite tuning knob. I got all the crud out of the tuning condenser. Again, I'll probably give it another bath, and then I've still got to clean off the chassis, the tubes, and get off some of the gunk that still remains on top. Again, the volume control, I had issues with that, and I was able to spray some contact cleaner down in there, and it did miracles for me for now. So we'll see if that problem comes back. But the radio is playing. There's some birdies, but I think some of that may have to do with the loop antenna. Again, I'm using, you see, some 12 to 18-inch jumpers. I need to get that remounted to the chassis so I can get that ground connection that's needed, as well as shorten up the leads, and then do the RF alignment. So I'll produce another video on the RF alignment itself. This video is just way too long as it is.
Painting or plumbing or electrical issues.
But hey, at least we got something coming out of this thing, and as far as I can tell, the B+ voltage is spot on. I'll flip it over and do some more detailed documentation and check all the voltages and make sure that they're plus or minus 10 or 20% from the original documentation. So hey folks, thanks for watching this particular video. I know it's been long, but hey, at least we got this little neat little Olympic 6502 actually playing again. So I'll continue to tweak on it, and I'll probably do again another final video, and we'll tackle the RF alignment, then get it back in the cabinet. Then I'll decide what I'm going to do here in this area, and more to come on this. Thanks again for watching.